there, and welcome back to the deep dive. We're really glad you could join us.
Yeah, great to be diving into another source with you all.
Today, we're zooming in on a specific chapter 6 from that fantastic book, The Whole Brain Child.
Right, this one's all about relationships, essentially, that tricky balance for kids.
Exactly. How do they navigate being their own person, their unique me, while also connecting and being part of a we family friends school?
It's fundamental. So our mission today is basically to unpack the key ideas from this chapter, the strategies, the neuroscience behind it all.
Helping parents figure out how to foster those strong connections, but without the child losing their sense of self. It's a crucial balancing act for life, really.
It really is. And, the chapter kicks off with something I think pretty much every parent relates to. Looking at your kids sometimes and just thinking, are they ever going to think about anyone else?
Oh, totally. The book uses that great example of Colin, the 7-year-old.
Ah, yes, Colin. His parents, Ron and Sandy, described him as, what was it? Totally and incurably selfish.
Yeah, even though he was liked and did his schoolwork. But yeah, the examples were things like grabbing the last pizza slice. Always.
Begging for the puppy, then losing interest completely once it wasn't new anymore. Refusing to share toys he didn't even play with. Classic kid stuff in some ways, but it was piling up.
But the bedroom incident was the real kicker, wasn't it? Deciding his side needed a makeover.
And just stripping his little brother Logan's side bare, taking down all his drawings, trophies, everything.
Just piled Logan's treasures in a corner, saying, so they wouldn't be in the way. It wasn't mean-spirited, just completely oblivious.
And that story really sets up the core idea here.
Yeah.
The book isn't saying Colin's a bad kid.
No, it's framing it developmentally. That ability to, step outside yourself, consider someone else's feelings, empathy, kindness, that stuff isn't always automatic.
Right. The brain pathways for those skills, they need practice. They need encouragement, cultivation, like learning anything else.
So this chapter is kind of the how-to guide for building those relational connections in the brain.
Exactly. Earlier chapters focus more on integrating the self, the me, understanding feelings, thoughts. This one shifts focus.
To integrating the we, helping kids connect with others.
And the key concept they introduce here is mindsight.
Right. Mindsight, they break it down as insight plus empathy.
Yep. Insight is looking inward, understanding your own mind. Empathy is looking outward, sensing and understanding the inner world of somebody else, their feelings, their perspective.
And this chapter really digs into that empathy part.
That's the focus, helping kids develop both that self-awareness and the ability to tune into others, bringing them together.
Got it. So it's not just a nice idea. It's presented as really fundamental for happiness, for navigating the world.
Definitely. You need that balance being your own unique me, but also being able to connect and belong to a we. Life demands both.
And the science bit here is fascinating. It really pushes back against that old idea of the brain just being isolated,
That single skull view. It's so outdated. Neuroscience now shows us the brain is fundamentally deeply social. It's an organ built for relationships.
Constantly picking up social cues.
Exactly. What happens between brains in our interactions literally shapes what happens inside each brain. We're linked. There's even research suggesting, that our own well-being is often boosted when we focus on benefiting others. The me finds meaning in the we.
That's huge. Connection isn't just out there. It's woven into our biology. And mirror neurons play a big part, right?
The famous mirror neurons. Reflectors in the mind, the book calls them. Remember that discovery? Early 90s Italian researchers, monkey brain electrodes.
Yeah, the monkey grabs a peanut, a specific neuron fires, standard.
But then the scientist eats a peanut, the monkey just watches, and boom, the same neuron fires in the monkey's brain.
As if the monkey itself was doing the eating, or at least intending to.
Precisely. It seems these neurons fire not just when we do an action with intent, but also when we watch someone else do it intentionally. It helps explain things like contagious yawning.
Or suddenly feeling thirsty when you see someone else drink.
Or how babies mimic faces, or how kids learn by watching. It's like the brain is simulating or preparing internally.
But it's deeper than just copying actions, isn't it? It relates to empathy.
That's the thinking, yeah. Mirror neurons might be a foundation for empathy. They let us not just imitate, but maybe resonate with the feeling or intention behind the action.
Like soaking it up.
Exactly. They even call them sponge neurons sometimes. We absorb others' internal states.
Like walking into a tense meeting and suddenly feeling stressed yourself.
Or how kids instantly pick up on a parent's anxiety. That's emotional contagion. It shows how biologically wired we are for connection.
So every interaction, big or small, is actually reshaping our brains.
and the other person's brain too. Hugs, arguments, shared jokes, they alter neural pathways. Our inner world isn't just private, it's shaped by our internal state and all these social signals. We're designed to integrate me and we.
Okay, so the brain's built for we.
Hmm.
But as you said, kids aren't born expert connectors, that whole mine, me, no phase.
Yeah, exactly. The skills need building. And the book stresses how vital those early relationships are for laying the foundation.
With parents, caregivers, but also others.
Absolutely. Primary caregivers are key, but also grandparents, teachers, coaches, even regular playmates. These interactions are where kids learn the basics: communication, listening, reading nonverbals, sharing.
And they build those internal blueprints, the mental models.
Right. Models of how relationships work. Can I trust people? Am I safe? Am I seen?
So secure attachment, where connection is consistent and attuned, builds that felt sense of safety.
Yeah, allows kids to soothe distress and trust others. If that nurturing is missing or unpredictable, a child might adapt, kind of shut down relationally, go it alone to survive.
So that consistent, predictable love and attunement builds mindsight, the ability to see inner worlds.
Their own and others.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just parents. A coach teaching teamwork, cousins playing together, a supportive teacher, they all contribute to wiring the brain for what a healthy we feels like.
Repeated positive experiences shape expectations for the future.
Exactly. The authors really emphasize the generational impact parents have just by being intentionally in relationship. It's profound.
Okay, so the wiring's there, early relationships lay the groundwork, but kids still need to develop the skills and the capacity for connection. How do we help them become more receptive?
Right, moving from wiring to actual capacity. This is where they introduce the idea of cultivating a receptive state, an open yes state, versus a reactive, closed no state.
They have that little exercise, right? Saying no firmly, then yes gently.
Yeah, and you can feel the difference.
Yeah.
No tends to feel tight, maybe resistant, closed off. Yes feels calmer, more open, lighter. It shows the physical feeling of being reactive versus receptive.
And this ties back to the brain structure. The no state is downstairs brain.
Often, yes, linked to that primitive fight, flight, freeze response. When a kid's there, they're defensive, focused on self-protection. They can't really take things in, might even twist what you say to sit their fear.
Whereas the yes state
Is linked more to the social engagement system, part of the upstairs brain's capacity. Feeling safe, seen, open to connecting and communicating.
So as parents, we need our own mindsight to figure out which state our kid is in, because trying to reason with a kid in a no state
It's usually pointless, like arguing with a toddler melting down about leaving the park. Their pure downstairs brain. Logic won't work.
Nonverbals are better then. Calm presence, a hug.
Often much more effective initially. Help them regulate first, then talk it through when they're more receptive, more in that yes state.
And the goal is helping kids become more receptive overall, leading to deeper connection.
Exactly. More resonance joining from the inside out. More intimacy, less isolation. But, and this is crucial, it has to be balanced.
Right, balancing the we with a strong sense of me.
Yes. You don't want a child who just loses themselves to fit in, becomes overly dependent. Healthy relationships need healthy individuals. It's about integration, not just isolated individualism, not just needy relating, but both together.
Okay, makes sense. So we understand the concepts. How do we actually do this? The chapter gives two main strategies, right?
2 core whole brain strategies for integrating self and other. Strategy number 11 is, well, it sounds almost too simple. Increase the family fun factor.
I think every parent feels that tension. Getting bogged down in rules and schedules and forgetting to just play.
Totally. The authors get that, but they stress that simple fun, playfulness, laughter together, it's not just nice, it's essential bonding. It builds positive associations with being in relationship.
And there's brain chemistry involved. Dopamine.
You got it. Fun, play, novelty, these trigger dopamine releases.
Yeah.
Little reward skirts in the brain that make us want more of those positive interactions. It makes connection feel good, intrinsically rewarding.
They give examples like reacting dramatically to kids' games, dance parties.
Working on a project together, popsicles in a fort, improv games too. Those are great for teaching receptivity, having to roll with whatever someone else adds.
And novelty helps get the dopamine flowing too.
Definitely. And they apply this to siblings as well, which is so key.
That the amount of shared fun is a better predictor of their future relationship than the amount of conflict.
Exactly. Conflict will happen. But if there's a solid base of positive, fun, shared experiences, They can navigate the fights better.
So less focus on just stopping the fights, more on proactively creating fun moments.
Find things they both enjoy.
Yeah.
Chalk monsters, silly videos, baking, board games, water guns. Build that positive bank account.
And you can even use silliness sometimes to shift a mood.
Yeah, if a child's getting stuck in negativity, sometimes a playful, unexpected moment from the parent can break the cycle, if you read the situation right, of course. Your state influences theirs.
Okay, strategy 11, more fun. Build positive vibes, increase receptivity. What's number 12?
Strategy #12, connection through conflict. This one might feel counterintuitive, but it's incredibly powerful.
Seeing conflict not as something to shut down immediately, but as an opportunity.
Exactly. Since conflict is unavoidable in relationships, use it as a chance to teach crucial mindsight skills for handling disagreements constructively.
Okay, what skills can we teach in the moment of conflict?
The chapter highlights 3. First, see through the other person's eyes. Perspective taking.
Like with the sister who was called stupid by her brother Mark, her reality is just hurt and anger.
Right. It's hard for her to see why Mark might have lashed out. So the parent's job is to help her and Mark try to understand the other's viewpoint.
But connect first, right? Validate the feeling.
Always. I see you're really upset he said that. Lower the defenses and gently prompt empathy. Any idea why Mark might have said that? What was going on for him? Engage that upstairs brain.
Got it. Skill number 2.
Listen to what's not being said. Teaching kids about nonverbal cues. Attunement.
Because they often miss them, like the kid dipping the pretzel in his sister's yogurt thinking it was funny.
While totally missing her rising distress signals, we have to point these out explicitly.
Look at her face. Notice his shoulders drooping.
Exactly. Help them decode body language, tone of voice. It builds their mindsight toolkit for life.
And the third skill for conflict, repair.
Making things right. An apology is good, but action often speaks louder. Repair can be direct, fixing the broken toy, or relational, a drawing, an act of kindness.
And good repair requires empathy, right? Understanding what the other person needs.
Yes, asking things like, if that happened to you, what would help you feel better? Or, what can you do now to make it up to your sister? It pushes past defensiveness, encourages responsibility, and rebuilds connection.
And a sincere apology, maybe explaining why you acted out, is powerful too.
Incredibly. I'm sorry I did that. I think I was jealous. Honesty plus action.
And they circle back to Colin and Logan's bedroom fiasco as a prime example for connection through conflict.
Perfect example. Instead of just a timeout for Colin, Ron and Sandy could use it as a teachable moment. Discipline means to teach.
Help Colin see Logan's tears, understand the impact beyond his own poster plans.
Getting Colin to grasp Logan's perspective, that's the mindsight breakthrough. That's lasting learning.
And then guiding them towards repair. Colin apologizing, maybe helping Logan redecorate or make new art.
Exactly. Turns conflict into a thrive moment. Develops mindsight, balances me and we. That's the root of social and emotional smarts.
This is so much about helping kids connect outwardly, but then the book brings it back to us, the parents.
Powerfully so. It underscores that the parent-child bond is the child's primary we. Our attunement matters immensely, and the biggest factor influencing that.
Not just how we were parented, but how well we've made sense of our own childhood experiences.
Precisely. Creating a coherent life narrative. Understanding how your past shaped you. If we haven't examined our story, we might parent reactively, unconsciously passing down old patterns or hurts, driven by implicit memories we haven't processed.
That sounds like significant work for parents.
It can be, but the book calls it the better than good news. You are not doomed to repeat the past. You can break cycles.
By reflecting, making sense of it, maybe therapy, talking it through.
Yes. Gaining that clarity allows you to parent more intentionally, less reactively, because we do pass on our emotional states through mirror neurons, through implicit memory.
So understanding our own story helps us attune better to our kids now and builds secure attachment.
Absolutely. Research shows adults with difficult childhoods can be amazing parents if they've done that work of making sense of it. Early experience shapes us, but it isn't destiny. You can create a different legacy.
Wow. That's a really hopeful message.
It is. And pulling it all together, the book's vision is raising kids who are whole brain integrated, happy, healthy, fully themselves, connected within and without.
And seeing everyday moments, even the tough ones, even our mistakes, as chances to connect and grow, moving beyond just surviving to actually thriving.
Right. And those tools like SIFT or the Wheel of Awareness that help kids integrate their me, their inner world.
That directly helps them connect better with the we, especially using strategies like connection through conflict to understand others' inner worlds.
It's all interconnected. How integrated they are internally affects their relationships now and later with partners, their own kids.
The potential ripple effect across generations is huge.
Teaching kids they're social beings, that connection matters. It's foundational for happiness, meaning, wisdom.
And they share those sweet examples of kids showing self-awareness, like, I missed you, but I also had fun, or I've decided not to fuss.
That integration helps them navigate life's chaos and rigidity, find well-being, author their own lives.
It can feel like a lot of pressure, though, this power to shape young
The
minds.
authors are clear. It's not about perfection. We will make mistakes. That's part of it. The goal is intention and attention, not rigidity.
And that final point is really freeing, isn't it?
Yes, our main job isn't to shield them from everything or be perfect. It's to be present, to connect through the ups and downs. Even hard times, even parental mess-ups can become opportunities to strengthen bonds, help kids feel seen, heard, cared for. That shift in perspective changes everything.
It takes the pressure off trying to be superhuman and focuses on just being human and connected.
Couldn't say it better. And they encourage sharing this approach, with teachers, other caregivers, building supportive communities.
Well, this has been a really rich dive into Chapter 6, truly unpacking that integration of me and we.
Yeah, covering the core challenge, the brain science with mirror neurons, the importance of early relationships and mental models, that concept of receptive yes versus reactive no states.
And those two practical strategies, boosting the family fun factor and seeing conflict as an opportunity to teach perspective taking, reading nonverbals, and repair.
Plus, the crucial piece about parents making sense of their own stories.
Yeah.
We've really gone through the whole chapter's framework, the key insights, examples, and goals.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Consider a recent conflict. How could you mentally revisit it through this lens, looking for chances for empathy, perspective taking, or repair?
Or, maybe simpler, where can you inject a little more intentional, simple fun into your family rhythm this week, just to build those positive connections?
Great takeaways. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into integrating self and other. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, always great exploring these ideas.
And thank you for being part of our deep dive community. We'll catch you on the next one.